I've been working with a professional baseball player for the last several months. He came in with an ulnar collateral ligament, post surgical repair, and I wanted to share the 5 things that I feel like I've learned from him as being a top athlete, right? And you should just think, like, take the baseball part out of it. He is at the 1% of the 1% of his league, essentially. So I want you to see, how can you play at a higher level. There's so many thousands, hundreds and thousands, millions of therapists worldwide, right? There's millions of therapists worldwide, physical therapists, occupational therapists. I don't even know the number when we now include assistants to it. And as therapists, we are competing. I wouldn't say competing, but yeah, to a certain extent, competing against other professionals that are really good at the things that they do, but sometimes there's some overlaps, right? And I want you to think it from a career standpoint. You know, lots of people, millions of people play baseball, and of course, everyone wants to be that top athlete that then can make millions of dollars and get signed. But the people who get to that level, you have to think about what are they doing to get to that level so that you can do the same thing, getting to a very high level within your career path, right? We can't all be baseball players. Like, I don't got that skill, but I am really good at hand therapy, and I think about some of the things that you can do, to be at the top of your game, be at the top of your career ladder, from just his, like, the things that he's done. So one of the things that he said to me at the very beginning is, like, I have a coach for everything. And he has a coach to improve, like, every aspect of the game. Like, you have a throwing coach, you have a hitting coach, you have a conditioning coach. Like, there's lots and lots of people that he pays for to help to improve him so that he's at the top of his game. And one thing that I've kind of noticed, that he didn't say, but other people told me, is like, at certain points you're in a team, right? And you're in high school, you're in college, you're in a team. But when you're out there and you're trying to be the best, not everyone's necessarily there to help you. You have a target on your back because everyone's trying to vie for that top position. And in a way, it's the same in any career path as an occupational therapist. At first, you work together as a team, and then you think about it, in some places you do work together as a team, but everyone is still a little insulated, right? You still need to be the top at your game in order to stand out, in order to be able to get different jobs in the place that you want, and to become a certified hand therapist, to have your own business. Like, you have to stand out. And how do you do that? You have to invest in your own learning. So he invests in his own learning. He has a coach to improve. And you have to think about, how do you invest to get better? When, I didn't realize this, I thought, like, if you're in a team like that, the team will help you to improve. No, they're already paying you a shit ton of money. You go and you improve, right? So he spends his own dollars to improve so that he can, go and get better, and hit better and play better. And then, as long as he continues to improve, he can up his game, right? He becomes, at some point, certain athletes become what they call free agents, right? If you're working, within a team, you can become a free agent, and then you can go to the highest bidder. So think about how you can go to the highest bidder. I always say, when you become a certified hand therapist, you have more choices in your career. And it's because when you have more choices with those letters, but it's not just the letters, it's the skills that go behind the letters, right? And you can have more choice in your career because now you can take your skills and your credentials and go to any job and say, hey, I have these skills, I have these credentials, I want to join your team. For me, I took it and went out to the world and said, I'm going to open my own clinic. I'm going to do my own thing. And you're going to, people are going to want to come to me because I've positioned myself, I've improved myself so that I am better than majority of the people around me, so that people would choose me, right? So it's the same kind of concept. I hope that makes sense. It's a little long-winded, so I apologize about that. But So he's a coach for everything. He invests in himself. So think about how you can do that for yourself too. He's really humble. He takes good feedback, and you have to be humble in order to not only ask the question but also to receive the information that you get, right? So believe it or not everyone receives information well. And so you have to ask yourself that, do I receive the feedback well? Because some people don't receive that damn feedback well, and so it will stunt your ability to learn and to grow and to develop your skills. So I found that he takes feedback well and makes the changes appropriately in order to make those improvements. And funny enough, he comes across as being very genuinely helpful for others. And I think that's really good because I find that when you are open to helping others, that also holds you accountable too, to improving so that you can continue to improve better, to improve others. And for us as therapists, we can improve so we can continue to help our patients. And you, of course, you can help the people in your community too. And your coworkers and your therapy friends and things like that. Number 3, he works every day. Like the man works. He gets up early. He's consistent in the work. So don't just say you're gonna do it. Actually go and do it. Actually got to go to this practice and kind of in like listening and watching, it's like, yeah, he wants to help other people, but sometimes he's like, I offer to help, but if they don't come, I can't help them. And I was like, that is correct. You can't make people do stuff. So people often, before I started doing Hand Therapy Secrets, people would come and approach me, within the community, be like, oh, can you help me? Can you help me? And then you try to help them and they have fucking an excuse for everything why they can't be there at a certain time. And it's like, you can't drag people along. You just can't drag people along. They have to want to do it. They have to be consistent in doing it. And I think that goes back to number 3, which is he has a coach for everything. And sometimes when you pay attention. When you pay, like he goes, because he's paying for someone to go and coach him. He's going to go and listen. So, he works every day. He's consistent with it. And I think number 1 and number 2 really help him to be able to do number 3, right? So he works every day, he's, really consistent about it. And I think as a therapist, you have to think about how you're consistently working. I'm 25 years into the field. I know my shit about hands and arms and stuff. I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning. There's still something to learn. There's other things to learn. How the whole body can, affect the hand and arms. Like there's so many different things to learn. And so if you kind of keep that humbleness about you, that can also help you too, right? I'm constantly learning and working because I'm held accountable to helping the people who buy my courses, who come to my live trainings. I'm held accountable because I have patients who are coming in and willing to pay premium prices for my services. And so, I'm held accountable to that level. And I think, how do you do that? How do you do that if you're an occupational therapist or a physical therapist who wants to get better at hand therapy and wants to become a certified hand therapist? Think about those things. He works every day. I mean, you can definitely take breaks, right? That's number 4. He takes breaks and he invests in his health. So I think about therapists who are like, oh, I'm burnt out and all, burnt out means different things to different people and balance means different things to different people. But I always say, if you can't fix yourself, or if you can't take care of either your physical self or your mental self, then it's really hard to be able to help other people, right? How shitty are you when you're burnt out and can't help your patients because you just have a shitty attitude? Because you're like, OT sucks, like, no, maybe your skills suck. Maybe your work environment sucks. Maybe you're not doing the thing that you say you want to do, so that's why your life sucks. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that's a harsh truth, and I might sound kind of bitchy about it, but you have to do certain things to take care of yourself, so that you don't have those kind of biases. Let me know if that makes sense. He definitely does things to, like, from a physical standpoint, he takes breaks, and so that he doesn't kill his body, right? So I think as therapists, we need to do it too. I think this is a really important lesson that I usually talk about when I'm talking about studying for the CHT. Sometimes people overdo it because they're like so desperate to pass, they don't take the time to give themselves those mental breaks. And the breaks mean different things to different people. I can take an hour break and I'm fine. I'm good to go. I can go to the bar, have 2 drinks, and I'm like, my mindset, like I'm good to go. I don't need a 3-day weekend to reset, but that is Huang. That is not everyone else, right? So you have to figure out what you need for that reset and then just make that shit happen. Right? And number 5, here is a really important one, and this is not something that I learned. Well, I kind of learned it from him, but I told him this. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And the reason why I thought that was a really great lesson was because when I was in hitting practice with him, and I was watching some of the other players as well, and I was watching him, he was telling me some stories about how, he's like, man, this guy's really good. We started this way. He was so good. He made so much more money. He started out and he was offered so much money, and I was only offered this much money. And I told him, I was like, honey, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, right? So he's moving up in the world, and this guy is like still stagnant. You know what I'm saying? So think about where you are. Think about where you want to go, right? So I have talked to many people when I was first starting out. They're like, oh, I want to be a CHT. I want to be a CHT. I haven't become a CHT. Where are they? They're stagnant. I started out not getting that job. All the jobs that I wanted, thank goodness I didn't get them. You just never know. But I came out, I was like, oh, I felt so down on myself because I didn't get that hand therapy job straight out of school. I was like per dieming it all over the place. I was, working in skilled nursing, working in hospitals, small ones, big ones. And I felt like I was getting rejected all the time. And I wasn't it took me a few years before I got into hand therapy. And there were moments in there where I was just like, I felt like a loser. I felt like I was letting myself down because I couldn't get those jobs. But I had to continue working towards it, even though I didn't see the results of it, right? Which is the same when you start studying for the CHC. Sometimes you can't see the results of it. You don't see that you're getting better because you're so, in your head about everything that you're doing. And when he was like, oh, he came in, he was so much better than me, and they offered him so much more money, and I was making pennies to, how much he was making. Now this guy is making a lot more, and this guy is not there, right? But I think it's not about how you get started, it's about how you finish. So he's rising up, and he's like, what do I got to do? I got to invest in my learning and my skills, right? Get a coach. He's humble. He's like, if I'm going to invest, I'm going to take the feedback. I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to get the help that I need, right? Number 2, then he works every day, just being consistent about it. Don't forget about the thing that you said that you wanted, right? And taking breaks. And I share that with you because as a very high level professional player, he's doing all those things. And I'm like, yep, Huang, kudos to you. I'm doing those same things too, right? I'm doing those same things. When I be at the top of the level of game that I'm playing, I'm just playing my own game. I'm not playing anyone else's game. I don't pay attention to anyone else. I don't compare myself to anyone, and when I do, I boom, boom. Come on, get your shit together, Huang. I'm not playing other people's games. I'm playing my game. I have a set goal in mind. I want my life to look a certain way. I want my retirement to look a certain way. I want my work life to look a certain way. My family life to look a certain way. So I keep all those things in mind, and I focus on those things, and I work every single day, and I take all those things that I've just shared with you, what he's doing to be at the top of his game, what I'm doing to, make sure that I'm playing at the top of my game, sharing with you. So as a therapist, are you playing at the top of your game and what you can do about it so that you can, you can have everything that you want as an occupational therapist, or if you want to become a CHD, do the shit you need to do. If you're not there yet and you just want to get into hands, what do you got to do, right? I'm going to include my links there because I've got the resources to help you. They're below. So if you're looking for help, then you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to invest in? What am I willing to do? Am I willing to take that feedback? Am I willing to do the work? When you're ready to do the work, boom, my resources are there. Take advantage of them. If you need my help, you know where to find me. Get on, get in those links. There's ways to contact me, okay? Don't be a stranger. All right, I'll see you on the inside.